that sounds about right. Okay, I think we're up again. Let's check it out. I'm checking the screen quality. See.
Oh, well, there it is.
We got it?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, do you actually see us, though?
I see it, man. I see a good-looking bald guy in this.
Okay.
Oh, wait, that's me. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. I don't know. Apologies. I don't know what in the world happened there. But we're not going to do the intro again. All right. Let's just get into it, Shane. God, this is just not our night. You know what? But whoa. Hey, first, Jim Knowles. We did. Wait. Shout out to MIZ SEC Shane. How many subscribers do y'all need for Shane to do this full time? Okay. Hey, if we can't laugh at ourselves, what can we laugh at?
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. People are gonna bicker. Jim Knowles, he didn't turn us down. We turned his ass down. But I don't know. But all I know is Sooner fans were expecting this guy. As I understand it, Shane, one of the Oklahoma media people even said they landed him, which was obviously incorrect. But this is Ohio State's defensive coordinator. He jumped ships to Penn State. He's now going to get over $3 million, Shane.
Yeah.
The highest paid assistant coach in the country, 3-year deal, which is relatively rare for an assistant coach. But just the point being that he's not coming to Oklahoma, which had been long rumored for weeks and weeks. Thoughts on that, Shane? Is this a bad look for Oklahoma? I would even suggest why in the hell are we spending $3+ million if that was the offer to a defensive coordinator when we got Brent Venables, who I know he's on a little bit of a hot seat, or I think a very hot seat, but he is arguably the best defensive coach in the country. Why the hell would we spend millions and millions of dollars to bring in a defensive coordinator to work under him? What's your thoughts on all this?
Well, I mean, it is kind of surprising because I was right there with them. I thought this was a done deal. I mean, we're talking reliable sources, almost saying, hey, his plane got intercepted there at Penn State, and I'm just kind of surprised myself that you turned it down because I would imagine the money was there, and I guess, yeah. Shit, it may have just came down to recruiting, coach recruiting. You know what I'm saying? And which one's a better situation to be in? I think Knowles, if you come down, there's a chance maybe you're an interim coach if something doesn't work out. But I do feel like this is what we talked about with Venables going all in. Like, this is your final season. This is your last dance. Pull all the strings that you can. And one thing you can argue with is the success that Knowles has had. So if he could bring just a glimpse of that, just a peek behind the curtain of what Ohio State's doing, I don't think that would be a bad thing for Oklahoma. And maybe, just maybe, Mike, we talked about this, he would be able to not focus so much on the defense and more as the team as a whole.
Right.
We talked about some of these coaches that get caught up coordinating and maybe actually there's a cool little interview floating around with Nick Saban, and he was talking about the show's called The Pivot, really good show, and they were talking, and he was saying the final season that he was at Tuscaloosa almost killed him, but one of the comments that he made that was interesting was the coaching staff. He said the coaching staff was not as good as it has been, and I'm paraphrasing here, and he had to be more involved. And I feel like that takes from the success that some of these teams have, and maybe that's what Venables was ultimately looking for.
Not gonna lie, Shane.
Didn't get it. Yeah.
I tried to make it through that interview. I couldn't do it. They were just kissing his ass too much.
Oh yeah, no. I honestly, I'd be lying.
It's an hour plus. I watched 15. I said I can't do it.
Full disclosure, I saw like 3 TikToks, and I was like, okay. They highlighted the good one. Now I'm sure Clark and them. I mean, I'm sure they do a great job. But I was just the interesting comments that I saw from that interview, or the cliff notes I just gave you.
Right. Well, I think you hit on something. And again, we're completely speculating. Who the hell knows? But
yeah.
To me, and again, this was just, we're just Oklahoma haters. I don't know how you could say that when I went out there 2 times. And I mean, the people are outstanding. They have one of the best fan bases in the country. But we got to keep it real. This to me says, Oklahoma, they were going to make inroads. They were going to try to get him, and they probably were quite close. And then Penn State caught wind of that and said, hell, he's from out here. Maybe we can make a push. Maybe we can give him similar money. We are, if let's say James Franklin was in the SEC, he'd be number 16 on our list of most popular SEC coaches. We don't like that guy. You know what I mean? So we like James Franklin better than Brent Venables, but you got to consider which job's more stable.
Yeah.
And if you're getting a $3 million, so essentially a $9 million deal, you're getting one at Oklahoma, you're getting it at Penn State that just went to the Final Four. Which one is more likely are you going to be able to see it through? I mean, I think it's obvious. I think it's Penn State. So again, maybe I'm just drinking that haterade, but this to me says, he's presented multiple options and he went with a more stable one that he's probably got more confidence in the program today. Doesn't mean, that's where things will be a year from now, but I don't know how you see it any other way.
Yeah, I mean, again, wasn't part of the discussion here, but I feel like because they had the buy-in initially, and not all Oklahoma fans were in on this, but there was a lot that were already kind of painting that picture, and to see this, there's a part of you that says, would he have went 4 years ago? Would he have went 10 years ago? I'm not saying Oklahoma can't rebound, because the fact that they're in a conversation with arguably one of the best defensive coordinators in the country still shows you that they're at the table. But it just also shows you a little bit of how far they've fallen a little bit, knowing that they can't secure a guy like this.
And Duddy says it will. Spent too much time talking Oklahoma. Let's talk about the winners.
Hey, they did land a 4-star wide receiver today, so it wasn't all doom and gloom.
All right, so before we get into top 25 real quick, wanted to throw this your way, buddy. We got this is the first time I have seen these, and these come courtesy of old FanDuel here, Shane. We've got odds to win the SEC championship next season. So I've made a little fancy graphic here. I'm trying to upload it, and it's taking its sweet time. All right, here we go. So Texas leads the way plus 210, which essentially means a little over 2-1.
Yeah.
Georgia plus 390. They have the second best odds. So we're kind of splitting hairs here. And then we got Tennessee's third best odds, 7-1. Alabama, fourth best odds, 7.5-1. Ole Miss, 9.5-1. LSU, 10-1. A&M, 16-1. South Carolina, 17-1. Florida, 33-1. Auburn, 35-1. Mizzou, 50-1. Oklahoma, 65-1. Arkansas, 120-1. Vanderbilt and Kentucky, both at 300-1. And then Mississippi State, 500-1. And again, these are odds to win the SEC championship in football next season. Any of these jump out to you?
Well, the tide hasn't changed completely, but the fact that Bama's fourth, Georgia's second. We're going into 2025. You told me 10 years ago that Georgia and Bama wouldn't be like the clear-cut favorites to win the SEC. I thought that would be kind of a surprise. But ultimately, I'm looking at that LSU is a team that I'm pretty high on. It looks like they're not getting as much love, them and Ole Miss. But other than surprises, I'm not really, because we kind of just talked about this a little bit. Is there any, I don't know, is there any that kind of stands out to you as far as good bets, bad bets type situation?
Well, first of all, I would say that looks like someone was right about the decaying dynasty. We can't even be in the top three to win the damn conference, but that is wild. So you shouted that out. But maybe there's odds there with Alabama.
Yeah,
7.5-1. I do not like Tennessee's odds necessarily, 7-1. And then I got no issue with Texas and Georgia there, but that doesn't present great odds because they have the best odds essentially. So yeah, LSU at 10-1. I'm not necessarily right there with you. I'm not buying into Brian Kelly right now. So I think those are good odds, but I'm not buying it.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
Let me say this, and God, I feel like I talk about this team every podcast, Mike.
Uh-oh.
But I mean, seriously, when you talk SEC, we're not talking national championship. We're not talking, 12-0 or anything like that. We're talking about a path to an SEC championship. And I feel like if you're in the game, you're in the game. You got an opportunity.
Right.
And so when I look for SEC championship odds, I have a tendency to look at who's got the easiest path. And I know there's nothing easy in the SEC, but
can I guess? Can I throw it up on the screen?
Yeah, of course.
M-I-Z.
I mean, seriously, here again, another year we don't have Texas. Another year we don't have Georgia. Another year we don't have LSU. We don't have Tennessee.
Right. No Ole Miss.
It's not so much about being good. Okay, I'm not sitting here in East Tennessee telling you Mizzou is going to be the best team in the SEC. I just feel like they've got a really good path to get to that game. The only away games for those listeners is Auburn, Vanderbilt, Oklahoma, and Arkansas.
Right.
So I feel like your toughest ball games are going to be at home. Hell, you could, and even in this theory, not saying it happens, Mike, but even in this theory, you could lose the first 3 games of the year and still make an SEC championship. So that's kind of where I'm at. Mizzou, another one I like is the Ole Miss.
Real quick. But I agree with you. I think if Missouri takes care of business, which means win the games that they're likely favored in. And then I'm throwing in the caveat, and hell, they may be even favored in this game by the time it gets here. But October 11th, if you beat Alabama, I think you're punching your ticket essentially again, barring upsets, you're punching your ticket perhaps to the SEC championship.
Mm-hmm.
And right now, just on paper, I could be wrong, but I think right now the 2 toughest games are Alabama and A&M. Now, could be at Auburn, could be South Carolina. That's fine if people want to say that. But the point I'm trying to make it right now, the 2 that I think are the toughest are Alabama and A&M. And wouldn't you know it, those are the 2 you got to buy. So you got 2 weeks to prepare for both of them. So, I mean, this is a damn dream schedule right here.
Dream schedule. Doesn't mean it's going to happen, but I'm just looking for outliers that kind of stood out from the others because obviously I'm right there with Texas being the favorite. I'm probably going to say that SEC Media Days unless something crazy happens. But I'd be right there with Georgia, Tennessee, Alabama. I can't argue with that. And even though Ole Miss and LSU, they're right there in that little cluster of the 4 behind Texas and Georgia.
Right.
It's the separation when we start seeing 50-1 and 120-1. Then you're starting to think, okay, but what if?
All right, we just talked all this trash. All right, here's what I'm doing. Call me crazy. I can make the case, I think, for this entire 3rd row, throw $100 on each of them. Now you're going to lose $300 guaranteed if you did that. But I think you got decent odds to hit one, if that makes sense. Florida, 33-1. Auburn, 35-1. Mizzou, we just talked about 50-1. And I know Oklahoma, we just got done talking about them, but 65-1. If they hit on the quarterback, if they hit on the offensive coordinator, they got the defense, they got the special teams. Oklahoma can make a Sooner magic, baby. I've seen it.
Yeah.
So, all these, that entire row, I can make a case for. Again, not sitting here predicting any of those teams win it, but if you're asking me, where's a good odds to hit a home run, I think it's those 4 right there.
Not a bad deal, Mike. Not a bad deal. And again, the separation of these teams are getting thinner and thinner. So, in the 90s, you could probably pick 1 or 2 teams that are probably going to be playing in the SEC championship. You can't really do that now because you could sit back and Georgia beat Texas and Bama beat Georgia, and because that's what happened. Ole Miss beat Georgia. I think we just saw a little piece of what is going to happen every year in the SEC. We're starting to see it in basketball right now. But what I will say is the recognition. SEC, even though they're beating each other up in basketball, they're not saying, well, they all suck like they did in football. Now, I kind of felt like we sucked because of the playoffs, but I feel like moving forward, we're going to still keep seeing these tight tight seasons, and shit, anything can happen, man. Any one of these teams, at least from the third row up, can make an SEC championship.
And let me say one last thing about these.
Yeah.
This is going to be blasphemous. Remember Kirby Smart after they won the SEC? He said, I honor these SECs. This means a hell of a lot to me. There's years we won the national championship. We couldn't even win the damn conference. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
This means something, and it does. But I know it's only 1 year. We had 1 year of the 12-team playoff, and that doesn't mean it's going to be this way every year, Shane. But do you realize, and this is cheating a little bit because Notre Dame's not in the conference, but none of the teams that won the conferences did anything. Georgia got eliminated.
Yeah.
Oregon eliminated. SMU or Clemson, eliminated. None of these teams that won anything, Arizona State eliminated. There could be a case to be made, and you ask Georgia right now. Kirby was fired up about it then. You don't play in this game.
Mm-hmm.
You got Carson Beck for the playoff. In that reality, where would you rather be? Would you rather have a healthy Carson Beck in the playoff, or would you rather him get lost for the season and win the conference championship? I think Kirby would, if he's being honest, he'd say, like, give me Carson, let's go win this damn thing. And I think, again, I hope this doesn't happen, but there may be teams, going into, like, let's say Texas. I'm going to throw Texas in here. Everybody knows how I love Texas. Let's say Texas is undefeated. Oh God, this might be a bad example because it's A&M. But let's say they're undefeated. They're 11-0. They're a lock to make the playoff. But if they lose to A&M, they ain't going to Atlanta. Sark may. I mean, that sounds crazy. But Sark may just say, to hell with it. Let's sit our guys for A&M. And again, this is a horrible example because it's A&M. Maybe let's say Tennessee. Tennessee may sit starters against Vanderbilt. Just to not go to Atlanta, I mean, I don't think that's crazy to say.
No, I don't think it is either, Mike. But it is a little crazy. It's not extremely.
But I think the point I'm really trying to make, though, when you're betting on, again, these were the odds to win the SEC championship.
Yeah,
we may have a team or two that says, "Well, hell, I don't," Texas or Georgia. They may even be like, let's not push to get in this damn game. If we're a lock for the playoff already, does that make sense?
Well, I mean, the fact of the matter is 5 years, 10 years from now, we're going to be talking about Ohio State, paying to win a championship game. We're not going to be talking about Georgia beating Texas in the SEC championship. So, I'm right there with you, but there's so much competitive. There's so much money involved in this game alone, Mike. I was down there in Atlanta with you pleading, like, why are we having it here every year? And you're like, hey, it's money, man. And you're right. There was a lot of money, a lot of time invested into that SEC championship game. And unfortunately, growing up, that was one of the most important, if not the most important game of the season for SEC fans. But it's really lost a little luster here this last season for sure.
Yeah, but you know who hasn't lost any luster, Shane?
Who's that? Cousin JR.
Come on! Appreciate your brother. He just showed up and gifted Prometheus Shrug. Prometheus, welcome to the family. Thanks to Cousin JR, you are now
JR's picking big names now. He's just trolling.
Yeah, let's see these hicks say this. You know what?
Oh, thank you, Cuz. And welcome to Prometheus.
Yeah.
Wasn't that a movie? I think that was a movie.
It was. I didn't care for it, to be honest with you.
I could barely. Was it the prequel to Alien?
I was pretty excited to go see it, and then it didn't live up to it for me. I don't think.
I didn't much care for like the movie, but the ending was pretty damn good, and I won't ruin it for you, so you can watch the ending of.
Spoiler alert! It's been out 15 years. No.
Yeah. Maybe I should ruin. I did like the ending because it kind of tied some stuff together. I was like, oh, I see now.
All right, Shay. Top 25 players for 2025. And this is when we get everybody mad at me. Not Shay, again, he'll remind you 20 times. This ain't my list, damn it. I didn't even know we were doing this.
I'd have him higher.
All 25 would be higher. So this was very difficult to do. And I'm kind of cheating here, Shane. I apologize. I don't know. Hell, I didn't want to sit here and bicker between 20 and 21 and this and that and the other. So I do have a list of 25, but I'm separating it. I've got a top 5 These are I don't think you can debate. Well, you can debate these all you want. But my top 5 is my top 5. I'm not coming off it.
Yeah.
Then I got 20 guys that deserve to be on this list, and I got 5 guys that just missed the cut. So, and there's some big names here, and I'm trying to do it because I don't want to spoil like our quarterback rankings that we do.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to do it like these are the guys that have already proven it to me, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm not giving it to any recruits. I have very few transfers on here because I think transfers are largely overrated, at least year one. And as I go down this list, there's a huge name that I realize I don't even have the top 25, Shane, because he hasn't done it.
Yeah.
Now, we'll get to it, and you'll probably rip it to shreds. But, all right, I say all that to say this.
Can I ask you, before you get going on this too,
mm-hmm.
was there any, like, when you said you got your top 5, were there some that were in that 20 mix that you thought could be, or are you thinking the top 5 clear cut, far away, the best top situation?
These 5.
Like they were the easiest ones to pick. Is that what you're saying? The easiest ones to put on here?
Like if you had a list like this and they're not on it,
yeah,
don't even do the list.
Don't even do. Shit, we're a full list season. Anyway. I'm gonna go back to beer, man.
All right, just missed the cut. Kevin Coleman, Missouri receiver, transfer from Mississippi State. Again, you just look at his numbers and say, my God, how's this guy missed the top 25? Again, a top 30 player in the SEC is like a first-round draft pick, basically. So
yeah.
I think he's elite. I think he's coming into Missouri to be a number 1 receiver. He may be there by the end of the year, but just missed the cut. Not everybody can make it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I already hate this list. No, I just, one thing I do, I think Coleman's perfect, absolutely perfect for this team. And one thing that I've thought, even though, we just had this run of Luther, you got to remember before that, it was, what's his name down in Georgia? What's his name? I'm terrible at names.
Love it.
Yeah. I thought at times he was the best receiver on that team. So
yeah.
They do find ways to get their playmaker the ball, but yeah, I see what you're saying. Still a good kid.
Man, and then people are commenting. I'm like, damn, I missed. Yeah, let me just. I want to skip ahead here for a minute. I apologize. I didn't put him on the list, and this is going to sound crazy. Should we put him on the list? Arch Manning. Because again, I'm leaning towards players that have actually done, and
is he? Moments. He played game. He had whole games.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Let's put him on. That means someone else. I'm gonna. Here's how I'm gonna rationalize it, Shane. I'm going to kick a Texas player off and put a Texas player on. You can't get mad at that, can you?
No, I think, obviously, I understand where you're coming from, and it is tough to say that this kid's going to be great because it's not like he played against Ohio State or Georgia or any of these teams. But yes, there is a lot of momentum behind Arch Manning, and he will be, and I'm a firm believer at the end of the season in contention to be one of the best quarterbacks in the country. So,
right.
But again, you're saying he should be.
Right. So here's another one that just missed the cut.
Yeah.
Running back, Caden Durham, LSU true freshman. He was, man, we've been waiting for an LSU running back to step up.
Yeah.
He's that guy. So I initially had him in this top 25, but there's a certain set of running backs, and I basically just had to pick one. I can't put them all on the list here. So Caden Durham just missed the cut.
Yeah, and it's tough, man. It's tough. This list 20 years ago would have all 14, 12. I don't know how many SEC teams we had back then, but it would have them all. The running back is a tough position to kind of put on these lists because a lot of them are committees anymore. So
right. Yeah. So let me do it like this because here's all the running backs that I did this for many. There's Caden Durham for LSU. Again, I think he's great. Running back. These are all running backs. Nate Frazier, Georgia.
Yeah.
I mean, my God, he came out. He's looking like Herschel Walker 2.0. You know what I mean? Kind of cooled off. He got banged up, but I think he is amazing. So again, I put him just missed the cut. Trey Wisner, Texas have been they were needing a running back to step up. By the end of the season, it was him. He may lead the SEC in rushing next year. Well, he probably won't because they got a lot of transition on the offensive line. But he's a hell of a, if they had all their offensive linemen back, he'd probably lead the SEC in rushing. So again, he just missed the cut, but I did put one on there.
Okay.
I put Jaden Ball from Florida, who was a true freshman. So basically, I said Jaden Ball's better, just by a hair, than Caden Durham, Nate Frazier, Trey Wisner. Give me Jaden Ball.
Only running back on the list.
No. Just of those. These are all sophomores.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No, I'm behind that.
Okay. And then another guy I just missed the cut. Oklahoma defensive lineman was all SEC freshman, Jaden Jackson. Give me him. I think he is. Hell, I don't remember the statistics, Shane, but coming into the season, he was named week 1, true freshman, starter. Again, I don't remember the statistic, but I think it was like the first time in 20 years Oklahoma's had a defensive lineman, true freshman, start game 1. So, he's a hell of a player.
Oh, yeah. Don't you love that? And that's a tough position to hit year 1. You know what I'm saying? Usually it's wait till he gets some weight on him. Wait till he gets, work his way up the roster. So you got him hitting year 1. You got yourself a damn star right there.
Right. And another one, again, this is why I love what Arkansas is doing with the transfer portal. They identify talent better than I think anybody in the SEC. They don't get the credit they deserve. But who'd they get last year? Xavier Sorey from Georgia. Yeah. He was a 5-star. Didn't do much at Georgia. He comes in. He was damn near elite for Arkansas. I believe he made all SEC. So give me Xavier Sorey, Arkansas. Just missed the cut, but right here we're at like 26 here.
Yeah, and again could still go off. He's going to be the guy down there. And second year, I feel like in this offense with the chemistry created, this is a kid that's got a high ceiling.
And then I got Ryan Wingo, Texas receiver. He may be the best damn receiver, most talented receiver.
Yeah.
And he made a lot of big plays. I mean, he flashed. He's not having him in the top 25 will probably be a mistake. Mm-hmm. But I got him next man out, essentially.
Give him an opportunity to clip that one. So when he's getting his gold jacket in 20 years.
But I do got one more. Same thing. Again, I put him on the list. So he made the cut, but I think it's fair to disagree with this one, Shane. Let me know what you think. Nico, are you putting him in the top 25? I say yes, but I did debate it. I don't know if, again, he didn't carry the team. I don't think he was near as bad as some people. He's one of those, Shay, where it's like he comes with hype, he comes with expectations. Fans run their mouth about how elite this guy's going to be without ever seeing him in a big time pressure situation, and he wasn't Joe Burrow, so he sucks. He's overrated. They don't like it. He was getting paid all this money, on and on and on.
Yeah.
But you're telling me he's not a top 25 player in the SEC next year? I'm not. If we're putting Arch on here, I think we got to put Nico.
I don't know if I'd put Arch or Nico in here, but I love Tennessee. You know that, Mike. But maybe that's the part that I'm frustrated in. I had higher expectations. I'm not saying I felt Hendon Hooker 2.0 coming, but I thought we would see flashes of it. And there were some moments. I'm not going to take away from what he did in Ohio State. He was tough as hell in that football game. Yep. And he did make moments. I think of the Vanderbilt game, back against the wall, down a couple scores. But is he top 25 in 16 teams trying to find 25 players? I don't know. I feel like Nico's still got a little work to do there.
So we can kick him out because again, this was the cut line for me.
Well, let me ask you this: how many quarterbacks you got ahead of him?
I'm counting, and we're counting Arch, right? Or should we not?
No, I don't think we should. I mean,
no Arch Manning in the top 25.
It's your list. 25 though.
Right.
25 of the best athletes, both offense and defense. So
I didn't have Arch Shade. That was the one. So
Okay.
I mean, we're fine not putting him in there.
2 UT quarterbacks not making Mike's top 25. I can hear it now.
Wait, no, I had Nico. Now you convinced me to kick him out.
Okay. Let me ask you. Other than Arch, forget Arch for a second.
Yeah.
How many you got above Nico?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Well, this is a little quarterback heavy. In that case, I'd keep Nico in. Because I don't think there's 6, in my opinion. Now,
Right.
again,
Now there's a wild
whatever.
card. Would you say there's 5? I think you would agree with the 5. I don't know if you'd agree with the 6. Who I could just name them right now if you want.
Yeah, go ahead.
John Mateer, Oklahoma. I'm putting him on the list, Shane. I've seen enough. I'm still not done with film breakdown, but I think he'll be a difference maker. He better be. I mean, he's again. I don't have a lot of transfers on here, but if John Mateer, if he's not a top 25 player, Shane, I mean, I'm gonna throw up a schedule. I mean, we've all seen it by now, but if he ain't top 25, I mean, we may win 3 games. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
if he's an average quarterback, if he throws 20 touchdowns and 10 interceptions, and we're cooked. We're cooked here because I don't know what we are if we don't have a good quarterback.
Well, if Mateer's on this list, put every other quarterback on this list.
See, I feel like you're bashing him without watching him.
No, well, I mean, you're giving a lot transfer. I've seen more Arch Manning than I've seen Mateer. I would put. I've seen more of the kid at Ole Miss than I've seen Mateer. So
Right, but because you haven't seen it doesn't mean he's not good. You know what I mean? He threw 29 touchdowns last year, over 3,000 yards.
This is your list. You're the one that told me no transfers, and then you told me a transfer.
Well, I didn't say no transfers. I said I didn't put many transfers on here.
Okay, all right.
But
yeah, no.
starting quarterback in the SEC, I mean, you have to think he's going to make an impact. Like I said, if he doesn't make an impact,
We're not quarterback ranking right now, but Mateer, Nico, and Arch, what do you got?
say that again. Nico, Arch, Mateer?
Yeah.
John Mateer, 1. And I'm just going off what they've done. I'm not saying who will have a better season.
Yeah.
We'll save those for the summer, for the quarterback future rankings.
Yeah.
Give me Mateer, Nico, Arch.
Just body of proof. All right.
Yeah, exactly. That's what this is.
What a stupid list. What a
You know what's not stupid, though, Shane?
What's that?
We're about 30 minutes in. That's perfect time to remind everybody that this list is brought to you by Joy Mode. Try joymode.com. Promo code SEC at the checkout, Shane. Get you 20% off a single order or 30% off a subscription service over at Joy Mode. And trust me, Shane, the audience knows if they try Joy Mode, that once you try it, you're going to want to sign up for a subscription. All you got to do, mix this with a pack of water. 45 minutes later, Shane, it is Joy Mode for you and the missus. This is an all-natural supplement designed to enhance blood flow, get you some Joy Mode, have you a good time. Join the over 200,000 men, Shane, who trust John Mateer and Joy Mode to boost their performance without side effects. Try joymode.com. Promo code SEC, 20% off, 30% off a subscription service. Hey-o! Talk about a transfer over here.
Lock in. Lock in. Oh, gee.
All right, how about this one, Shane?
Yeah.
This guy could have went pro.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard for me to evaluate linemen. I know, we've had Cole Kublik on. We'll have him on again. We rely on people like him to break down the linemen. I know you're a lineman. You do it too. But again, there's professionals for this. But so
we're not the same.
Right. So I don't have a lot of linemen on here, but I do have LT Overton, Alabama.
Yeah.
Coming back, anchoring Alabama's defense. I think he's going to be one of the best defensive linemen. He was a transfer from A&M last year. Had a really solid season for Alabama in their transition year. I think he's going to be one of the best defensive players in the SEC.
Well, I feel like that's what they're going to get back to a little bit, that big body push up front. And obviously feels like we've been saying that for a couple of years as Saban was kind of trailing off here. But I feel like that's kind of what we got to get back to, is a little more of that ground and pound. Because if you don't have that threat it's or at least stopping it. I feel like that's. You seen it, man, in the national championship game. It was a line of scrimmage game, and I felt like Ohio State has won that every time I watched him, unfortunately.
Right. Hey, shout out to Cousin Will. He says, Mateer had joy mode, jumped into the top 25. That's what I'm telling you, Shade. You got to get locked in on this. But, all right, so we got LT Overton. How about...
Are you firm on that, Mike? Are you firm?
45 minutes after joy mode, I was quite firm with it.
You're going to get better as the show goes on.
All right, the only other transfer I got on here.
Yes.
I just did this for you, buddy.
Okay.
I think he's, again, mixed opinions. I think a change of scenery, change of offense, change of quarterback. We could be sitting here next year and be like, good God, how did this guy, how was he not like All-American? Mm-hmm. Barian Brown, transfer, Kentucky to LSU, teaming up with Garrett Nussmeier in a better program. He returns kicks. He's the all-time SEC kickoff return leader. I think change of scenery is going to do him a hell of a lot of good.
I'm right there with you. And this is just an athlete, brother. This is just an absolute freak athlete that I don't think was ever unlocked officially. When you play college football 25, this is the guy you had in every damn play. You know what I'm saying? You were doing wide receiver sweeps. You were doing whatever you could to get this kid the ball. And I feel like that's what LSU is going to do, man. And you're right. This is a kid, I think at the end of the season, we're going to look back and say, man, how did Kentucky let this one get away?
Yeah, he's the guy that he gets injured, and then your game accidentally freezes. What the hell?
Yeah.
We got to play this one again. You know what?
Let the power go off.
And how about this one, Shane? How about the blanket? Will Lee, Texas A&M. He's making the list. Maybe the best cover corner in the SEC. Had a hell of a year. Got a little banged up. Now he's back. Give me the blanket. He's going to be blanketing people.
Yeah, he's a fun story too. So yeah, I'm right there with you.
Yep.
Anybody that can shut, I mean, you know what I'm saying? That game alone, I couldn't believe how they shut Mizzou down. I think that was an eye opener to just how talented he is.
Right. And then I got Suntarine Perkins, defensive edge, whatever you want to call it, defensive end for Ole Miss. Shade, well, Ole Miss losing a lot of defensive production. Now, I realize they've hit the portal to attack it, but I think this is their next big time star on the defensive side of the football for Lane Kiffin's Ole Miss program. He's been making plays since his true freshman season. Now he's going into his third year, his money year in the Ole Miss program. Give me Suntarine Perkins.
Is he the best Perkins in SEC? Man, I love Perkins. You ever had the chicken tender? I saw you knew exactly where I was going.
Oh yeah,
chicken tender melt.
But now we're kind of getting into the cream of the cream. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yes.
All right. How about now? This is a guy, Shane, that if you don't follow SEC closely, you might say, "What the hell? This guy doesn't belong on a list like this." But I think he does, Shane.
Yeah.
Give me Vanderbilt tight end Eli Sowers, he's like a jack of all trades. He's like that guy for the Niners. Damn it. I don't know NFL like I should. The long-haired tight end guy that does it all. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He can run the ball, he can catch, he can block. He makes that Vanderbilt offense so effective. On Diego Pavia on third down, where is he looking? He's looking to Stowers every damn time. I think he is. Again, is he going to win the Heisman? No. Is he going to be a first-round pick? Probably not. But I think he's a top 25 player in the SEC this upcoming year. And if Vanderbilt does big things this year, it's a large part of it's going to be because Stowers had an excellent season.
Yeah, and it kind of got lost in the shuffle there with all the Pavia news. This was, I think, one of the biggest pieces. This is a guy that left, Mike. These are guys that was leaving 2 years ago there at Vanderbilt. Mm-hmm. The fact that he said, "Oh, no, you know what? I'm coming back. Screw the NFL. I'm coming back for another season." I think he has a lot to prove here, and yes, he is going to be a Swiss Army knife for the Vanderbilt Commodores.
Oh, they're saying that's George Kittle. We should have known that.
Oh,
name.
You Kittle. I was thinking of what's his name, the Jurek guy that was a fullback / H-back.
Oh,
they
that
kind
guy
of did
too.
they kind of did away with those positions. Who was my favorite? There was a Redskin, Cooley. He used to kind of do that, a little bit of everything. And of course, what's his name down there shit, I don't watch NFL anymore, but Saints. He was another one, quarterback / tight end / wide receiver. He's the guy you want on your fantasy team because he can score a lot of points.
Yeah, I've always hated the Cowboys, Shane. I don't know. I think you'll remember this, but when I was growing up, we grew up at the same time. You and your brother got me into Moose Johnson, Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah,
he was the only Dallas Cowboy I liked. But yeah, ever since then, I've liked those utility tight ends, whatever you want to call it. You know,
I'm glad you opened this door because I'm jumping in. Will Bartholomew was another one there at Tennessee.
Yeah,
and he'd have these like shoulder pad collar, that it sits your shoulder pads real high like that, And of course, I had to have them in high school. Of course, I couldn't move, at the time. Yeah, I looked cool, but I couldn't do anything. Now everybody wants small pads, but him and Mike Allstott and those guys. Man, I was like, man, wouldn't it be awesome to be a running back in the NFL? Of course, it never happened. Haven't ran since, Mike.
All right, well, speaking of running.
Yeah.
I think Ryan Williams ran further on that Georgia touchdown, and either you or I have ran in a decade, Shade. A list like this, you got to have Ryan Williams on it, and he's probably closer to the top 5. He's significantly cooled off. I think he hit that freshman wall, but he's an elite player.
Well, this is a guy that when you start seeing lists like this, Mike, I feel will be in a lot of people's top 5 because he has it. He has the ability to be the best wide receiver in the country. He has the ability to be, you just kind of marvel at the talent. We saw flashes of it. So if he excels, if he improves I feel like this is a kid that easily could be the top player in the SEC. So how close to the 5 was he? Would you say like the top 10 thing or? Because I'd have him top 10. I think he's just.
Well, that's the difference between me and you, Shane. I kept up with him the rest of the year when he didn't do jack. You know what I mean? Like when he was right out the gate. Yeah, he looked like he may be the best damn player in the country, but he cooled off. So, yeah, I put him in top 10, maybe top 11.
Yeah, you bastard. Nice play.
Now how about this one? This may be I may be overrating him. I think you'll like this one though. Give me some Boo Carter, Tennessee Shade, defensive back, and mainly as an elite kick returner. He was a difference maker for Tennessee as a true freshman, and certainly not a liability in coverage. I didn't think. I think Boo Carter is showcased already. He's one of the top 25 players in the SEC right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And the fact that he's going to be going both ways. This is a kid that's going to have a lot of opportunities to do some highlights. But you're right. A young kid, I think of the Oklahoma hit on the sideline. I think of just some things that young kids like that aren't doing. He was excelling at. Another offseason under his belt. I feel like Boo is a guy that we're going to be talking about for a long, long time. So I like this one.
And then another string of freshmen here. This is kind of how I did the list, Shane, where I think of one freshman. I'm like, well, I can't leave this guy off. Can't leave this guy off. Can't leave. So I'm putting KJ Bolden, Georgia safety.
Yeah.
Started as a true freshman right out first game, and he looked better than anybody Clemson had on the damn field that day. So KJ Bolden, I think he's one of the top 10 players in the entire SEC. Georgia's outstanding safety. Got to put him on the list.
Definitely going to be on the list. They're not going to let him get away either. So
right.
They're going to pay him a lot of money.
All right, how about this one? He got banged up, but he's supposed to be back in time for the season. Came out of nowhere for me, Shane. I don't know about you, but I'm giving a linebacker, Whit Weeks, LSU.
Yeah.
I mean, he was
shit. That Arkansas game sealed me, man.
Yeah, it's like he's come fired out of a damn cannon. You know what?
Absolutely. They should have drug tested him after that thing. I ain't ever seen that much energy on the field before in a long time, but he was all over. And you're right. This is a guy toward the tail end of the season, especially, just kind of started shining and becoming for a defense that quote unquote sucked. There was some bright lights, and I feel like Weeks was it. So this is a good pick, man.
Yeah. And then how about this one? Again, he's banged up, so I don't know how effective he'll be right out the gate. but I'm not really counting, how they'll be in the summer or anything like that. I'm just saying the season that just was, this guy was borderline. Quite frankly, I think he was elite. Give me Tennessee corner Gerard McCoy, who recently tore his ACL. So again, he's on the fast track to return.
Yeah.
Hopefully he's back to that level as soon as humanly possible. But if he plays anywhere near as well as he did this year, he's an elite SEC player.
Oh yeah. He single-handedly won the Alabama game, I felt like. So this is a kid that kind of created his own island, and I hated to hear the ACL, but again, quick turnaround. I'm sure he may not be at spring, but obviously he'll be showing up for the fall. And if he's just 95%, 90% of what he was last year, I felt like he's still at least close to that top 25.
Mm-hmm. And then this guy, Shane, I think the season. I don't want to. In football is one reason I love it, Shane. Is you can't dominate it. It's not like basketball where one guy can dictate your season. I know quarterbacks obviously have a huge hand in it, but the season just went sideways when we lost him. Le'Veon Moss, running back, Texas A&M, had emerged as the best weapon they had.
Mm-hmm.
And when he got banged up against South Carolina and was lost for the season, so was the offense essentially. So I think Le'Veon Moss, he gets back to his healthy self. I think he may be the best running back in the SEC next year.
You always wonder about that because sometimes you'll look back on lists like this, 2, 3, and it was a little injury or it was a little this or a little that, and if they stay healthy, I feel like there's a lot of kids that would be in this top 25 argument, and Moss is definitely one of them.
Yep. And then I love this guy, Shane.
Shane?
Defensive lineman for Oklahoma, R. Mason Thomas. He's just outside the top 5. Took over games last year, Shane.
Yeah.
So this guy's a real deal. He's the next great defender for Brent Venables and the Oklahoma Sooners. And like I said, I feel bad that he's top 10, just outside probably top 5.
What a defense. I still think about that 24. I saw Stutzman intercept Jalen Milroe there in practice, and I was like, man, this kid is just unreal. But yeah, your defense, that's one thing that they're going to keep creating, in my opinion, is an angry defensive front, and they're going to have some dudes going to the next levels, and this is one of them.
All right, how about this one, Shane? He was a true freshman, and a lot of these guys coming into the year, we hear, oh man, this guy's tearing it up.
Are we top 5?
We're just outside top 5. We always hear, this guy's going to be amazing, and then I'd say about 80% of the time they don't do a damn thing. You know what I mean? But this guy, I think, did. He started slow, but he really started to come on, and he may be one of the best players in the entire country, not just SEC, Shane.
Yeah.
Cam Coleman, Auburn. I'm putting him on the list.
How could he not be on there? I feel like this guy is going to have. We got to see a little bit of that. I don't want to say ceiling because I feel like he's got opportunity to just explode. Cam Coleman is one of those guys that has the body of one of those receivers. I grew up Julio, Cinco, what's his name, AJ Green style, just big body SEC wide receivers, and I kind of like that we're getting back to that. Don't get me wrong, like little guys, but I feel like somebody take the top off, and now they got a quarterback that hopefully can do that. Cam Coleman may have a breakout season this year.
Final 3 games, Shane, for Cam Coleman: 8 catches, 100 yards, 3 touchdowns. That's just one game. 7 catches, 128 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
And then the final game, 7 catches, 78 yards, another touchdown. So 6 touchdowns.
Yeah.
And over 300 yards in the final 3 games, and that's including 2 SEC opponents. So he's elite.
And he's going to have other weapons around him, so it's not like he's going to steal all the coverage. So Auburn going to have a sneaky good offense next year.
Okay, we got a quarterback here, Shane. I think you and I got this guy a lot higher than maybe some people around the country. Could be even higher on this list by the end of the season. Give me Taylor Green, Arkansas. I know, at times inconsistent, but he's been banged up. Doesn't have all the talent that some of these other guys have around him. I think Taylor Green is about as good as it gets.
I'll say this, Mike, and I know this is crazy. I think Taylor Green was on. I think if he was wearing orange and white last year, they may have beat Ohio State. Because this guy, Taylor Green, lost games last year. Okay, I'm not going to sit here and talk like he's perfect and he's got the best QBR in the whole country, but
Right.
there were also flashes of something that 90% of the quarterbacks in this country can't do. And he found ways to move chains. He found way. I mean, he's worked on his accuracy. I felt like there was less and less mistakes as the season went on. Again, not perfect, but the ceiling on this kid is unreal. And I feel like it's untapped. So hopefully Petrino's able to open that up here in the offseason. And I don't know if Arkansas, a lot of people are down on him, but I feel like Green is going to keep you in a lot of football games, brother.
Yeah, don't you think, again, not to make excuses for guys, but don't you think at times when your team's not as good and maybe you're getting down, you almost got to force the issue?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying that was the case every time or anything like that, but I think that's at some point that kind of creeps into your head. When, like the Ole Miss game, God, they scored 60 something on you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you got to, if you're Taylor Green, you take the field every time saying we have to score a touchdown to remain competitive in this game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I don't know. I think that hurt his numbers a little bit, that he was kind of at times forcing the issue.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he felt like he had to win the damn thing. So
Right.
kind of like you said, it's like flag football. You know what? I'm only going to get picked quarterback once, so I'm gonna throw it, brother. I'm not going to just throw it off to the side. So, some mistakes made, but there was also some games won that I feel like they didn't think Arkansas had a shot at, and I about cried at one of them. So, the kid's special.
All right, so here's a trio of defenders, Shane. Dante Lawson, Alabama. They lost him late in the season. I think it certainly took a toll. I think he could be the best linebacker in the SEC next year, or at least interior linebacker, run stuffer type. And then these two guys are going to be game wreckers for the Longhorns. They're going to give teams nightmares all season long, Shane. Could be this year's version of the Carolina guys, the edge rushers extraordinaire, Colin Simmons and Anthony Hill, going back-to-back, 3 outstanding defensive players that we got coming back in the SEC.
Should have him hired, Mike. Should have him hired. Mike's list.
All right, we're in the top now. Now we're in the top 5.
Yes.
So everybody I just said just missed the cut. I'm going, and these are the only ones I did in order.
Okay.
And feel free to tell me they suck and they shouldn't be top 25. Yada yada yada. But I think you would agree all these guys deserve to be top 25. I don't know if you'd agree with the order. But I'm gonna count down, Shane. So number 5. I've heard some complaints this guy's overrated. I think he's underrated, quite frankly, Shane. Diego Pavia, come on, Dad. I just think he's elite. I mean, literally turned around Vanderbilt football.
Yeah.
He didn't do it himself. I get it, but I think people don't. I mean, the over/under was like 1.5. You know what I mean? Like, what he did, what he has brought to Vanderbilt. I think we're going to be studying this guy for years, Shane, about, in textbooks, they're going to write about Diego Pavia.
I get it. I get where you're coming from. And I feel like it's a little heavy just because of where he's at. Vanderbilt, obviously he's changed everything. I'm not saying anything bad about Pavia, but if we had an SEC draft right now, his ass would not be in the first round. It probably won't be till the 3rd round, 4th round before you see Pavia coming off the board. And not that Pavia is not a great asset to Vanderbilt. It's just, this is your list, and you got to identify if he's a top 5 talent in this league. And it sounds like you're I'm going to fight you all offseason on this. I do not think Diego's top 5. I do think he's great. And
who agrees with me?
Who's that?
Your boy. Hugh Freeze.
He's
0-3 against him. You know what?
Yeah. Well, that's fair.
I look at him. I mean, they're different players, but there's some similarities. I look at him almost like a Tebow.
Yeah.
Tebow, to your point. Yeah, this is the SEC. This is the elite of the elite. I think it was probably. I mean, I think everybody would agree Tebow going in the first round of the draft was a mistake. But that we're talking college.
Yeah.
I'm not talking the draft. I'm saying you go into battle with these guys on Saturday. I mean, Diego Pavia, I'm taking over everybody I've mentioned so far today. I give me Diego over any of them.
Well, this is Mike's list again. I'm not going to argue with you. That's your boy. That's like, I'm not going to tell you your kid's ugly, to your face. But to the cousins that are listening, his kid's ugly as shit.
All right, number 4. What do you think about this? Is I don't want to give it away. I'm about to reveal it anyway. Number 4, give me Garrett Nussmeier, LSU. I think if there was a time in the middle of the year, Shane, this guy was unstoppable.
Yeah.
He was looking elite. Things kind of went sideways on him. I think if he can recapture that magic, he came back for a reason. I think he might be the best damn quarterback in the country next year.
Well, I think that's the thing, man. At the end of the season next year, I think statistically he'll be toward the top at everything.
Right.
You got to remember, they built around him. They went to the portal and they built what Nussmeier needed. And I feel like that bodes well to maybe we're going to talk Heisman odds and things like that coming up. The reason that he's going to be in that race is just because of what LSU is putting around him. And, I feel like he's a great athlete. And I can't believe he came back, but by God, he's there. And LSU's got him a GM merit quarterback.
Right. Yeah, well, he's there because,
He could have left.
He could have left. He would have got drafted. But the point I'm stumbling through here, Shane.
Shit, he could have went to another school. That's the thing for me. It's like,
right.
I look at some of these programs, like in the SEC, that really struggled because they didn't have enough from, like Alabama. Nothing against Jalen Milroe and what he potentially could be, but I don't know. Sometimes I wonder if a guy like Nuss was on that team last year, would they have made the college football playoffs? Would it have been if he would have been right there in Athens, Georgia? Would the Bulldogs have beaten Notre Dame? I think they would have, of course.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I just feel like Nuss is not getting enough credit. He gets some blame, but he doesn't get enough credit for what production LSU did have last season, and I feel like it shines in 25.
Yeah, and it's not his fault the damn defense can't cover a running quarterback.
Seriously. Exactly. Exactly.
And I think LSU, in this aspect, Shane, will have an edge over literally everybody they play in the SEC, in the country, don't matter. I think their quarterback will be on another level when it comes to knowledge, when it comes to preparation.
Yeah.
His dad's obviously a longtime coach, coordinator, all that.
So we're reminded, yes.
I think his grasp of the game is higher than anybody.
Yeah.
Which gives LSU a major advantage going into every matchup.
He feels older, don't he? Feels like Van Wilder over there. Everybody has a golf cart, drives around town in.
All right, how about we're into the top 3.
Yeah.
This is when people really get pissed off, Shane.
Oh, they've already tuned off.
How could you have 3 over 4, 3 over 2?
Yeah.
I'm going your boy, Shane. Heisman, Lenoris Sellers. Come on. Could be number 1. He could win the Heisman. He could be the best player in the country. I love him. But I put him number 3. He's the best dual threat, I think, in the damn country. So you can put him higher. You can put him a little bit lower. But I'm putting him number 3.
This thing went off the rails. No, I'm just kidding. We're at 3. We're talking, we're nitpicking here, but I'm higher on Lenoris Sellers. I feel like he is a Heisman candidate, and I feel like if I'm picking a quarterback right now to lead my football team, it's probably him.
Yeah. Well, I love how you say you put him higher. I mean, there's not much room to go here.
It's your list. I'm just
you don't even know who's in the top 2, and you put him higher.
I know who's not in the top 2. You put him lower.
All right, number 2. I love this guy too. Not the runner. He's a good runner. Not the runner of Sellers, but I think he's a better passer. Give me DJ Lagway. Florida, number 2.
You and Billy, man. You and Billy, boy. Cable guy.
I think he's a program changer. I think this is their Peyton. I think he's like going to be that good.
I think the way they ended the season, how could you argue? And this is another one that I feel like the weapons around him have gotten better.
Yeah.
And helps the path. When you look at not just this year, 2025 season coming up, I feel like they hit the ground running sooner just because the progress I saw from DJ, especially after that LSU matchup.
So I've only got one left. You want any guesses on who I got?
Number 1?
Not a quarterback.
No, obviously. Yeah. I'm surprised you didn't put DJ there. I kind of felt like he was coming, but who you got?
Dylan Stewart, South Carolina, defensive lineman, true freshman, game wrecker. That's how often do we see that? I can only think of a couple. Clowney, Derek Barnett was pretty damn awesome, but I think even Stewart was better than Derek Barnett. It's just so rare in this. You could do it at a lower level perhaps, but in the SEC to come in here and be arguably the best defensive lineman in the damn conference year one, it's just incredible. I think Dylan Stewart, if he continues to progress, he'll probably be a number 1 pick in 2 years,
I think he will. And I just hope he doesn't do the Clowney route that Clowney did in South Carolina, Yeah. I hope he just kind of seals the deal and we look back 20 years from now talking about the true legend that was on the defensive front there at South Carolina, because he's part of the reason they got put on the map to begin with. And it's rare that a defensive player is the one still in the highlights, and that's exactly what he was able to do, and I expect him to continue to do. So he's getting paid now. He's happy, but again, now we're getting to that great top 25. If you could finish a season as a top 25 player, Mike, I think you seal the deal, man. That's a rarity. It's tough enough to get in this conference, but to walk away as one of the best to ever play the game, that's where he's at, and I hope that's how he goes at the sport 24/7,
Right.
Just like you, Mike. I'm on the outside. I'm a bubble team, and I show up sometimes when the screen's not on. I felt like we were back in our radio days, I was about to take my shirt off since they couldn't see us.
Well, anything else? Any huge issues or anything like that? Anything else before we hop off the line?
Well, I'm struggling with sugar. I've been really wanting to eat some sweets here lately, but other than that, no, not a lot of struggles. What about you? Is that what you're talking about? Oh no, I know what you're saying. I feel like 25. This list is going to get picked apart tremendously, and there's probably going to be 4 or 5 that you forgot about, but it depends on how you look at it. And I always thought about it like fantasy football and who am I drafting? And the problem is you're going to give quarterbacks a little extra love. You're going to give wide receivers an extra love, defensive line some love. But, there's some other dudes out here that at the end of the year, we're going to look back and say, damn, we missed this guy. Or how did we have him so high? How did we Brady cook this thing? But I feel like, there's going to be those dudes. And, but this league is just riddled with talent, Mike. And there's some, you didn't talk about too many transfers. There's a few on that transfer list that I'm looking at that potentially could be the next, freaking athlete that we're looking at. So I'm pumped up. I'm looking forward to spring, seeing some of those in action. But other than that, man, I can't argue with your list. You put so much time and effort in this thing.
Even though you argued with it the whole time. I was
you nailed it, Mike. You nailed it.
Well, you nailed it on this show, Shay. So we appreciate you. As always, we appreciate each and every one of you for hanging out and fighting in the comments. We love every one of you. That's going to
Absolutely.
do it for this episode. We'll catch you on the next one.
All right, see you guys. Go Vols.
Hey, buddy, this beer's for you, Mike, and Cousin Shane. That SEC podcast loves the Pirate, and the Pirate loves that SEC podcast.